I'm outside of the Richmond Police Department where the local community will have a chance to honor a fallen hero for the next few days.
Fire burns a beloved hangout for veterans in a central Kentucky community. We'll show you the damage. And a central Kentucky deputy finds a to introduce himself to his community, what he did for a group of children.
This is WKYT News at 6.
A symbol of an officer's sacrifice. Thanks for watching WKYT on the CW Lexington. I'm Kristen Kennedy. Soon a fallen officer's cruiser will once again become a place where people can pay tribute to him. Richmond police officer Daniel Ellis's cruiser will return to its spot in front of the Richmond Police Department tomorrow. It spent several months in that spot last fall after Officer Ellis died in the line of duty. As WKYT's Mike Byer shows us, the cruiser looks a little different. He has our top story at 6.
The area in front of the Richmond Police Department may be empty now, but it will soon be reunited with an old friend.
Tomorrow at 10 a.m. we'll be putting out the newly designed Officer Daniel Ellis Memorial Vehicle.
Officer Ellis's car will return to this spot outside of the Richmond Police Department where it sat for nearly 4.5 months after his tragic death. When Officer Ellis was killed, his car sat in front of the police department for months. It didn't take long before it was absolutely smothered with love. All the stuff people brought out couldn't last forever, but police have found the next best thing.
The new vehicle number will be 457 with a thin blue line through there. Some of the other unique features are going to be that his signature is placed on the hood of the car.
Tomorrow, Richmond Police will introduce Officer Ellis's cruiser with new decals to honor him.
I think it'll be nice to be able to, take my daughters there to drive by to see his car and see the building named after him.
Daniel's brother Eric Ellis says having the car put back in front of the police department will be good for the community.
It's awesome. I think it brings people closer together, and I think it's what we need this day and age. You need more that brings people together.
Even though Officer Ellis isn't patrolling in that cruiser anymore, in a way, his spirit still can be.
That vehicle, the mentality he had, the professionalism he had in law enforcement, the dedication he had to this job is still represented through that vehicle because it's still impacting people today.
In Richmond, Mike Byer, WKYT.
Officer Ellis's police cruiser will be outside of the Richmond Police Department for the next several days. We are seeing a few showers and storms pop up across the bluegrass this afternoon. The threat of more rain, even some flash flooding, remains on the radar for the next few days. WKYT meteorologist Jim Caldwell's here with a check of the forecast.
And we are tracking those showers and thunderstorms across parts of Kentucky. A little bit of activity going up here into central Kentucky as well, with a good little thunderstorm that's passed through parts of Franklin County, and it's headed into Scott County here soon. Let's get a little closer with our Defender Radar Network, and there you see loads of lightning and heavy rain now coming down over Stamping Ground and will likely sweep into parts of Georgetown here very soon. It's closing in on McClellan Circle there, so they'll be dealing with that here very soon. Let's move off toward the east. Another round of thunderstorm activity showing up there into Fleming County. Most of it's right around the Hillsborough area, so south of Flemingsburg. Even more thunderstorms, a little strong one. This is across parts of Morgan County going over into Elliott County. Most of the lightning still kind of lingering behind into Morgan County, though. Another stop here into Rockcastle County, where we're dealing with more heavy rain there along the interstate, and some of it also in position into extreme northern sections of Laurel County. Just an action-packed kind of day. Here's what it looks like as I'm gazing off toward the north. You see those storm clouds well off in the distance. This is that activity into Scott County. We're going to have more of these as the week kind of progresses here. More heavy rain potential as well. We'll track all of it a little more in detail coming up for you in just a few minutes.
Deadly flooding in Louisiana has forced rescuers to help 7,000 people escape their homes this weekend. The state's governor gave an update on the situation this afternoon. The number killed remains at just 3 right now, but state leaders warn the threat of more flooding isn't over.
I do want to warn everybody that because the ground is so saturated, even a typical summer afternoon thunderstorm has the potential to cause flooding. Or recurrence of flooding in those areas that have already experienced it. And so I want everyone to be mindful of that and to take the necessary precautions.
Only one person is unaccounted for. The governor has already made an official request for federal aid. The Red Cross in Kentucky says it is on standby to help if needed. A bar in downtown Winchester, considered a hangout for veterans, now has a lot of rebuilding to do. The 21 on Broadway bar caught fire this morning. Nearby shoppers described the flames for WKYT's Sabira Rayford.
Flames are literally there. I'd say they're coming out about a foot, maybe 2 feet out, and just rolling up.
Donald Labona says he was out shopping with his family in downtown Winchester when he noticed flames coming out of the 21 on Broadway bar.
It was scary. I mean, it's best just to stay back and let them do their job.
Firefighters say when they arrived on the scene, their main focus was evacuating the building.
We typically go into rescue mode when we know we've got residents. At the time, we were unsure. So the initial things that we did was prepared for rescue operations as well as fire attack at the same time.
One of the employees at the bar told me he's glad everyone is okay, but he says now he's out of a job and a home.
I'm not allowed to go back in my apartment right now because they're going to wait and see if any of the fire's still up in the attic or anything. So we're just, a bunch of us is kind of standing by to see what happens.
Brian Ambergy says most of the people that work at the bar live in that building and are former military veterans. He says the bar was not only his place of work, it was a hangout spot for him and other veterans in the community.
It's tough. It's going to be a long road, to put the place back together with all the water damage and the smoke damage.
But they're not giving up.
Try to get it back on its feet, and that way the veterans have got a place to come and meet in Winchester.
In Winchester, Sabira Rayford, WKYT.
And firefighters have asked the Red Cross to help all those living directly above the bar. Police in Bowling Green say a man stabbed his father this morning in the middle of a church service. 21-year-old Ethan Buckley is charged with assault. Officers say he attacked his dad inside Hillview Heights Baptist Church. Members of the congregation were told kept Buckley inside until police arrived. Buckley's father is at Bowling Green Medical Center. We do not know how he's doing tonight. State police in Carter County say 4 people are in jail tonight after a homeowner shot and killed someone in a home invasion. That home invasion happened early yesterday morning on Clark Hollow Road. Troopers say 4 people forced their way into a house. We're told Kevin Helton from Bath County got into a fight with the homeowner and that the homeowner shot and killed him. We're told Cindy Puckett from Moorhead, Brittany Crouch from Frenchburg, and Jonathan Gooden from Olive Hill all took part in the robbery. They are all in the Carter County Detention Center. Emergency crews in Knott County airlifted 2 people, including a child, to the hospital after a boat crash. Kentucky Fish and Wildlife leaders say around 9 last night on Carr Creek, a boat driver's seat collapsed, causing him to make a sharp right turn. He ended up hitting the bank and a tree. When first responders arrived, some of the victims were in the water and others were on the bank. We're told the rescue was a difficult one.
And particularly this one where you've got a small juvenile on board that was injured, and there was obviously some injuries there, and so anytime you have that in the middle of the night trying to work out there with very little light, it was very difficult to get them off the boat and everything.
2 of the people injured went to a hospital in West Virginia. One of them was an 11-year-old. We're told the second person injured, a man, has back injuries. The Federal Aviation Administration will be in Laurel County tomorrow investigating a small plane crash. The plane went down Friday at the London Corbin Airport. The airport manager says the pilot, Everett Hathorn, was practicing takeoffs and landings when he hit a tree. Hathorn is recovering from his injuries at UK Hospital. Law enforcement across the Commonwealth are finding new ways to interact with the communities they serve. Today in Scott County, the sheriff told WKYT's Sean Moody he's proud of the way one of his newest deputies introduced himself to a couple of children.
If there's a soccer game going on out here in Scott County, there's a good chance you'll find Junior Centuza Morales nearby.
My favorite soccer player is Messi, Lionel Messi.
He's 12, not quite big enough to play out there with those guys just yet. When he's not out there by the pitch, he plays outside his home, here on the street. That's what he was doing with a friend yesterday.
We're just passing the ball around.
Scott County Sheriff's Deputy Jamie Morales was out on patrol. He noticed some kids running in the street and pulled his cruiser up to them.
We thought that we were going to be in trouble.
Junior didn't have to worry. This video went out on the Sheriff's Office Facebook page last night. It's got about 5,000 views now.
He was doing those moves, he was juggling with the ball, and then we thought that he was really good.
That's 5,000 people and counting who can see just how a few minutes of kindness can make all the difference for a 12-year-old boy.
You can meet officers, and officers can meet you, and you can become friends with them.
In Scott County, Sean Moody, WKYT.
The Scott County Sheriff says Deputy Morales is fairly new to the department, and that it's not uncommon for his men and women to find ways, like Morales did, to bond with the community. Still to come on WKYT on the CW Lexington, we may soon see a pedestrian bridge over a busy road in Winchester.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
Thunderstorms going up across parts of Kentucky out there today for us here in central Kentucky as well. We're tracking one on Defender Radar Network, but we're also tracking it with our Skycam. We can see it well off in the distance. You can see the rain shaft from it. I'm looking toward the north here, and we've got one that's been impacting folks here across parts of Scott County. So you can see the low-hanging cloud. You can see some of the rain associated with it. Heavy at times as well. Right now in Lexington, we're at 83 degrees with a feels-like temperature of 89, though. That's because that humidity is still up there at 72%. Here are the showers and thunderstorms that are sweeping through the area, and some of them, as mentioned, producing some heavy rain. That's what we've been talking about all week. When we finally get some to go up, they have the potential to produce some heavy rain in a short amount of time, and that's certainly the case with a few of these. Let's give you a radar tour. We get in on Scott County now with that heavier rain that's now right over top of the high school and also getting into downtown Georgetown as well. And we'll soon be closing in on the Toyota plant off toward the east into Fleming County. Hillsborough really impacted by this with some of the heavier rain. Now shifting more toward the north and east. We get into just a small little sliver now of Morgan County, more so into Elliott County at this point with a good little thunderstorm. And our final stop on this particular radar tour takes us into southern Rockcastle County and eastern Rockcastle County, where we're tracking that rain, and also into northern Laurel. Plenty of heavy rain associated with that. Mainly, most of the action has been falling just to our northwest, over into Indiana, over into Illinois the past several days. That's where we're going to run into maybe some more flood concerns over the next 24 hours. So most of our high-risk locations have now shifted. That frontal boundary is being fed, and I'll tell you what, it's been backtracking so much, it actually helped us out, helped us stay away from a lot of the heavier rain. But it's being fed by this low that we've been watching over Louisiana the past few days. Now, as we look ahead into your Monday, we're going to jump past today and go into Monday because it gets a little more active out there with a few more showers and thunderstorms. We've got energy finally tracking toward the north, and as it does, it's actually going to drag a cold front across Kentucky as we go into Tuesday and into Wednesday. So that enhances our rain chances for Tuesday, giving us a more widespread chance. So the front will eventually work its way through the area Tuesday going into Wednesday night, more so. A few lingering showers at that point, but some changes are certainly trying to set up around here. 7-day forecast will not reveal the complete and total changes, though I think most of us are dry Thursday and Friday and very small chances of rain. Then we've got another system that gets in here for the weekend. It's going to bump the chances of storms up again, but let me tell you what. It might be my favorite because once it clears town, we are talking about a clean atmosphere, low humidity, dry days, not days you have to worry that there might be an isolated storm. It's going to be fantastic. We just have to get there.
Are we out of the dog days of summer?
If we can get that front through here and the couple that follow it, most likely, yep.
Thank you, Jim. Okay. Plans for a pedestrian bridge are progressing in Winchester. The Winchester Sun reports the Clark County Fiscal Court gave the city the green light to try and get a grant to build a bridge from Old Boonesboro Road to George Rogers Clark High School. The plan comes after concerns last year about a shortcut many students use to get to the school. The city says the path would comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. Lee Kay's in next with sports, and we are counting down to the start of UK football.
Yes, we are. We're less than 3 weeks away for the Wildcats season opener, and Mark Stoops says the freshman may be behind the rest of the team a bit. Find out why that's not necessarily a bad thing. Next in sports. By now, Mark Stoops has had the chance to watch the tape from Saturday's first scrimmage inside Commonwealth Stadium. Immediately, though, following the workout, Stoops had good things to say about both sides of the ball, but cautioning that there are still mistakes to clean up. He said physically the team is stronger, but the true freshman looks noticeably behind the veterans. But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
From the naked eye out there, and again, I want to watch the film, but you could see where, those guys need some reps. The inexperience definitely pops up in the physicality, and I guess that's a good sign because finally the rest of our team looks a little bit better. So when you see those freshmen in there just physically, it's a hard matchup for them still.
And as we were talking about the Kentucky football season, now just 20 days away, the number 20 worn by former Wildcats Kinjera Daniel, Derek Locke, and my favorite, Shipwreck Kelly, among others. You may remember Bud Dupree's 20-yard interception for a touchdown against South Carolina back in 2014 to tie the game at 38, and the Wildcats, of course, would go on to win that game. And in the first matchup with Louisville in modern-day history, the Cats won 20-14 back in 1994. That was the first game of the Governor's Cup Series. For more facts about the number 20, you can visit the sports page at WKYT.com. At Franklin County, the Flyers have had to make a quick adjustment to a new head coach while trying not to miss a beat. The Flyers think that they are on track for another good season in tonight's 27 teams in 27 days. When Chris Stacy stepped down as head coach at Franklin County in July, the Flyers didn't have any time to waste in finding a new head coach. The school turned to 10-year assistant coach Nicholas Sheridan.
I found out the Friday of dead period and took over on that Monday. So obviously it was a really, really fast turnaround. There's quite a few new things around here. We're known as an athletic fast team. We're still athletic and fast, but we also have some big linemen this year that I'm really, really excited about as far as a new feature to our football team.
One of those big linemen, Sedine Laverity, approves of the new hire.
He has new energy, new attitude, and he just helps us with so many things on the field, off the field, life lessons, and I just love it.
The offensive line is a strength of the offense that will be led by quarterback Dalton Landrum.
Dalton Landrum is definitely somebody that will be exciting at multiple positions. We have Sedine Laverity, John Michael Staller, and those are linemen. Usually people don't come to football games to watch linemen, but people will be coming Friday nights to watch those two, for sure.
We want some more productivity compared to last year, but obviously we're going to score points and be a fast team. And I'm confident in the line that we have. Like he said, we have a huge line, and I'm happy with what we've had.
The Franklin County defense is more of a question mark, but Coach Sheridan isn't concerned.
Right now, the defense, we have 2 returning starters, which to most people, that's one of those deals where it's kind of scary, but not for us. Because those guys had experience. They weren't necessarily starters, but all those guys have played in different roles. They might be in a different position, but they're ready for Friday nights.
And this Friday night starts the football season for high school. Meanwhile, the U.S. men's basketball team has been tested through the last 3 games of pool play, winning by a combined 16 points. On Friday, the Americans won by just 3 over Serbia, and that was how they won it today. Another narrow 3-point win today for USA over France, 100-97. Now, Klay Thompson led the way with 30 points. Kevin Durant added 17. Decent game from DeMarcus Cousins. He had 9 points and 5 rebounds.
Tuesday night's Meg Millions jackpot is $52 million. The Wednesday night's Powerball jackpot is $94 million. I'm just thinking about that break from the hot air. It's sounding pretty good next week.
It's going to finally get here. We have a lot of changes coming out. So we got one midweek. Today we're still tracking the scattered showers and thunderstorms, but they eventually lead to some nice weather.
Well, if you missed the headlines and want to get caught up, tune on over to WKYT.